And we are live. It's the first of many videos. I hope that is going to give you guys a bit of information about buying properties in New Zealand. So firstly, I'd like to welcome all the members in the group. So for the South Africans in New Zealand, good evening. And for the South Africans in South Africa, good morning. So I guess I'd like to start just by thanking everyone in terms of how we've grown this group. I started this group about 3 months ago, and we now are just over 1,000 members. So thank you so much for sharing and spreading the good word about mortgages in New Zealand, and to show that it is actually possible to buy a house in New Zealand. In terms of my disclosure, I'm a financial advisor, so I have to disclose my disclosure statement to yourself. So my disclosure statement is available on request and is free of charge. So I thought I'll start by just giving you the reason for these Facebook videos. What I want to do over time is just expose you guys to quite a few property experts. So today it's going to be myself talking about mortgages. And at some point in the next few weeks leading up to Christmas, I'm going to get some other experts, maybe a real estate agent, a building inspector, and a solicitor. And after Christmas and New Year's, I'll get some other guys to talk to you about the whole process of buying property in New Zealand. So in terms of my family, we came to New Zealand in 2003, and we bought a business. We ran that for 5 years. And sold it and came back to Auckland and started working in the bank at one of the major banks in the small business team. So I've done that for the past 8 years in BNZ. And then I moved from there to starting my own business, because what I saw at the bank was a lot of applications that came through from mortgage brokers wasn't of a high standard. And I thought I can do a better job for my clients, which so far has certainly been the case. So what I wanted to do also is just give you a bit of a heads up on the challenges that some of the clients face that I deal with. And it's partly explains the reason why I've done this group. A client of mine today was lucky enough to go unconditional on the property that they've bought. This is after a process of about 9 months since they had to sell their investment property and then buy their own property, which went unconditional today, and so they're really happy about that. So both South Africans, a couple, and as I said, they had to sell their investment property and then wanted to buy their own occupied home. So the process took long because they wanted to get a good price for their investment property, and then they started looking at getting an approval from myself. And so basically it's taken them 3 times. So they made 3 offers. So the key is not to give up. So they've made 3 offers on the property. The lady was really worried about the whole process, and I got them through it in the end. And I got a massive compliment today. So I'm really happy about that. And this is the reason why I've done it, because I know for you guys out there, it's quite an intimidating process. And I want to help you guys through it, because that's what I have been doing for quite a long time, and I know the stress. We've been through that ourselves as a family, so I guess the same story as most New Zealanders. Came to New Zealand, didn't know much about buying properties, and made the same mistakes as other people are making at the moment. And I want to help you guys not make those mistakes. So what I'm seeing in terms of there's still confusion about if you can buy a property in New Zealand, if you've got a deposit, say, of less than 20%. And I'm not sure if you saw my post yesterday about the Reserve Bank. They made an announcement that the RVL restrictions are remaining. And so nothing has really changed from my point of view. I still have access to 4 lenders that are prepared to provide or look at approvals if your deposit is less than 20%. So that doesn't change. Just to give you a heads up on why that happened. So in 2013, when the market really went rampant in New Zealand, the Reserve Bank decided to ram in the property prices a bit because of risk of overexposure for clients and households. And so what they've done is they've really just given the banks a bit of a direction to say that you're not allowed to have so much lending that's less than 20%. So you can still do it. In fact, at the moment, the banks can go up to 20% of their lending can be for if your deposit is less than 20%. So as a result, they're actually quite selective in what sort of clients they choose. So you've got to have really good account conduct, for example. You need to show that you can afford the loan over and above their minimum. So you need to show that you're a really good client for them to have a look at it. So even to that extent that they actually got a ranking system in one of the banks. So the smaller your deposit, obviously the more risk, the more you sort of will go back into the queue. If you're an existing client, you will get preference, and also in terms of your history with the banks. So that's, as I said, that's still an issue that I need to explain to clients. You can buy a house if your deposit is less than 20%. It's just a little bit harder to get an approval, but it's still possible. So that's the one. The other one is just around the possibility of actually buying a house if you're on a resident visa. You can. So again, with the change of government, they wanted to slow down foreigners buying property in New Zealand. And so if you're on a resident visa, you can certainly buy a property. There are some rules. So you need to be in the country for 12 months, of which 184 was actually in New Zealand. So if that is the case, you can apply. I would recommend that you go and see your solicitor first before you make an offer on a property, but you can certainly apply for put an offer on a property. If it's less than 184 days, you can still do it. You just need to apply with the Overseas Investment Office for an approval. It's like a pre-approval on the house, but you can certainly still do that. You also do that through your solicitor. So what I'm seeing with applications from clients is really just when you've got a low deposit, the banks, as I said, they're looking for really clean applications. And sometimes I'm finding that the South Africans that I deal with that have just maybe come over, maybe they've been here 2 or 3 years, they do have a lot of debt. And I do understand that. You know, you come from a sort of a weak currency environment, you have to bring your funds over from South Africa. And when you get here, you know, New Zealand is not it's quite an expensive country to live in. And so what would normally happen, maybe the husband or the wife will get a job, and then, you know, you need to find a way to survive, and then maybe you start using the credit card facility. You might have bought a car initially. And because of that, you know, I do understand why people need to build up debt initially. But as much as possible, I would recommend that you don't take on any additional debt, because the combination of a low deposit and high debt level just makes it really hard to get approval in place for a client. So the other thing that I do is quite a few of my clients are not ready to buy right now, but they will be in a few months' time. So we work on a plan. It could be that they need to move banks. It could be that they need to repay some debt. It could be that they need to try and increase their deposit by way of maybe completing the process of financial immigration. Often I find people, they still got their assets in South Africa and they haven't sold it. And so they have to pay 2 mortgages, basically the one in South Africa and the one in New Zealand. So again, it makes it really hard. So again, with that, I would recommend that you do get good financial advice about selling your assets in South Africa. But if you want to buy a property and you need a deposit, then that is certainly an option. So I'm trying to make these sessions short in the sense that I want to keep it to 10 minutes. So, and I think I've got about 8 minutes down now. So what I want to do is, if you want to comment on this video, feel free to do so, and I'll see if I do my best to answer it for you. And in the next day or so. And then what I want to do as well, as I said, I want to get some experts in over the next few weeks and just talk about other things that are really important that people often overlook. Things like when you make an offer on a property, be really sure that you engage your solicitor, because it's a legal contract, and you can get yourself into a big financial difficulty if you have to stick out and actually buy the property that you actually don't want. So the other one that I find often is the potential leaky building syndrome, where people buy houses that look like the ones in South Africa, but they could potentially be leaky in future, which could cost you a lot of money and ruin your family home as such to repair. So in general, if I can ask if you have any comments about my post, just feel free to do so. No, there's no dumb question as such. So any questions that you want me to answer, I can see if I can do that for you. Other than that, thank you for listening to my video. Hope to catch up soon. And have a nice evening in South Africa, nice evening in New Zealand, and a great morning in South Africa. Thank you guys. Have a lot of fun. Cheers. Bye.